Hello. Good day. Happy Monday, everyone. Hello, Glitchstar. How are you doing? Did you have a nice weekend? As usual, I'm taking my sweet time to get started this morning. I'm still a bit worn out. Noticing I barely did any drawing this weekend. I did some watercolor stuff, but Sunday was no art whatsoever. And hello, Revenge Shipper. Hope you guys are doing great. Well, it's another day, it's another week, and that means there will be more drawing, more work, and I best get started. Nothing like the present. You can probably hear that I'm barely awake at this point. This is what I left last week when I wrapped it up. I was like, yeah, I do have the power to fill in the remaining stuff here, and I'm not gonna. I just did not find it in my power to do the stuff. Also, there's some confusing shenanigans here with some background parts being accounted for twice, so that's also something I should have a look at. Now it's only the stems of 2 of these. Let's see. What's the background here? That's the leaves. Now these, I'm deleting this one, because it's accounted for in here. I think what I want to do as well is have a look at the leaves and just delete whatever's inside. I think that's the simplest way for getting rid of the duplicates. Not that one, not this one. It's not great that I'm outside the line work here. It's it causes a lot of unnecessary work, but at the same time, it's kind of what I want to do to just be able to get an idea of what I want to do. I think you forgot they're colored. And we got this one as well to be deleted. But it's okay, we can do some simple cleanup. I'm getting sort of spooked at the moment from just knowing that I am 2 pages away from ending this scene. It's quite daunting to be this far into a project, and every time I see that, it's kind of like viewing, like, seeing that I'm approaching a goal or a partial goal, and what happens to me psychologically is that I just stall. I end up stopping almost. It's not great, and I have to constantly fight it to just to manage, really. But alright, we got those down. Now they look nice and clean. Very good. I should probably make a bigger mess of leaves and stuff here, but I haven't quite figured out what I want to do with that yet. So for now, we'll just have to see. Now we got the... In order to finish this top panel, I can add... I sort of gotta figure out the characters in the back here without adding too much detail. So let's see, I'll add a new window, but I'll try to keep it below this time. Zoom it out. Aren't the character colors a little brighter? What do you mean? At this point, I might have laid down flat colors, but every character is colored in their so-called local color, which only means that they have the correct color for themselves, but they haven't been adjusted to fit the background. And the background hasn't been properly cleaned up color-wise either. So it's nothing here that is set in stone at the moment. This is all just work I'm doing in preparation for coloring later. Colors of the character's fur look darker than you remember? Well, I wouldn't know. No, look at me. I'm straight on the cleanup. Oh, that's a bad sign. I don't want to work today, but it's cool. We'll get there. I have a meeting later this week, so I gotta get stuff done. How silly the captain looks. Yeah. And I'm thinking, as a strategy for keeping coloring simple, these characters who are all like in the back will probably not even be having much different color. I'm not going to give them all their individual colors, but instead have them read as a crowd. Now, let's begin Finskis. Alright. This is what we got to work with. I need my reference, which is in the wrong screen. Let's try getting it. Nope, wrong thing. There we go. Where do I put it? We're all zoomed in on Edgar for reasons. That's nice. Who will I do first? I think I'm going to do Razi because it's just a stick figure at the moment. And I'm going to shrink the crew. They're just becoming smaller and smaller. It's what happens when you have to scale them to fit into these tracks, really. Alright. Let's start thin sketch. Thin sketch, and it feels this big. That's a sign. Can't be doing too much coloring. Do I want them to have just this sort of shape going on for him? Gotta keep in mind that his not going to be super visible. This feels quite awkward as a walk. Thanks, I'm glad you like Razi. I think he's probably having his left shoulder pointed back. And for the rest of his arm, it's pointing forward, but it's all part of a silhouette. And that's as detailed he gets to be. Then, for other people, the rest of these rats, I'm not really sure who we got, like, below here. It's Razi and Luggen, so we can have Luggen walk on beside here. Since he's kind of the star of the scene in terms of being the one we notice is being kind of in the way. Of course, I'm wanting to give all these characters their individual colors because I love detailing that stuff, and I want to be honest to the character. Honest, true to the character. But there's a time and place for everything. And this is not the time nor the place to let them have their true colors. So I guess this is Arndt. It's not that important. On previous pages, this is kind of my least favorite part. When I know I have drawn something that is valuable information for how I lay out stuff later, I dislike it because that means I will have to look it up. And even if it's not me who has to do the effort of pulling out the memory, I think I feel bad for the computer. Arndt is the so-called whole rat of the crew. He is the quite a gentle rat, but his build is so close to being an animal that he's not really built for speech. So he basically squeaks and rumbles. No, he can't speak. He only squeaks. I'm sad not to be that experienced with rats. I would love to dive deeper into what kind of noises they're able to make. But oh well. That's another thing for the future filmmakers to deal with. I love that. I'm not expecting there to be a movie ever of this, by the way. I'm just memeing. It is my personal meme made just for me, and it's humor. I'm just being funny. But no, last book explained that Arndt is what you would call a whole rat. And he cannot speak because of it. But he is gentle and intelligent, more so than several others in the crew who are not that bright. Okay, we'll just make this Fadil. Making a movie of this with the same style one's gonna take triple the time it took to make all of the comics. Yeah, I don't know. I kind of trust that a team of filmmakers would be able to push out a film with a slightly reimagined story and stuff like that. I think they could pull it off in like, well, say 5 or 6 years at least. Saying 3 would be optimistic, perhaps, but if there's a skilled team with good management, they could probably do it very well, even. But I don't expect Reno to ever receive that sort of humble attention from the best of the best, you know? Oh, that's a problem though. I would be picky. Alright, let's not forget that Fadil has his pet bat with him. There he walks. And from behind, like further back, we're just like accepting that these are also rat people. They're just rats walking there. But we are not defining them any further because that's useless information. His head is too big. Shrunk. There you go. Now, I imagine that the style would be slightly changed, perhaps, but it should be adapted, you know. If you know Asterix, that one's technically style-wise not that adjusted. They managed to adapt the style both to 3D and for animation, and the main difference between the comics and the animation is that animation tend to roll with thin lines. No socks. Hello, Vebjörn. Welcome. How are you doing? Ella should have a movie. Oh, that would be Unhinged. I would actually love that. She could probably do a series. Would be fun to... Oh, no. Now you're giving me ideas. No. Groggy? Same. I'm groggy. I'm having a slow start, but we're doing it. Hey, we're drawing the crew. We're adding teensy-weensy background characters, and I kind of hate how Samuel is standing, so he's putting his other foot forward. There, all better. He's also kind of too close to the frame, so let's moving. There. Yeah. Now we're making comics. For the time being, I'm a semi regular streamer. I'm doing the streaming, yo. Which is... yes, it's fun. Oh. Alright, I'm keeping this and this together. Is that bad for the chat? Yeah, it's kind of bad. I'll adjust like this. Now I can have more information on less space. I also don't need a zoom in. There you go. Making short episodes, all covering the comics with Ella, or maybe combining all the comics in one movie. Yeah, she's kind of on a mission, but she's also on this... While while her mission is laid out like this, with like she starts here, and she's moving towards some goal, vaguely, but she's like going all over the place here, on adventures, and that seems quite appropriate for a series, I think. She could have a movie as well, you know. She could be experiencing a larger story that calls for a movie. There are so many opportunities, and I can dream. It's never happening, but I can dream. No one can take it from me. Did I like The Great Mouse Detective? Partially. I think it's dreadfully boring, as those old movies tend to be. Not as boring as the Aristocats. Alright, I gotta ink this before I go crazy. But it's kind of I wonder. I can't. Hold on. I'm gonna pull up my rating sheet. I have my Disney list. Let me see. Oh my goodness, I fail at typing. Let me search. Let me search for my Disney list. Disney list. Nice. Let's see. Where is the Rescue Down Under? The Great Mouse Detective. No, we gave it a 3. It was not that entertaining. It was not that great of a story, and the songs were not that great. Why do we ask, though? Thing is, for the Great Mouse Detective is being a whole reference to Sherlock Holmes and everything. It's not really made for children. Do I think Ella should only show text when speaking, or should actually have voice actors? For a proper series, there would be a need for voice acting, for sure. No clue how Ella would speak. Like, yeah, no, I can't start thinking about that. Oh, you do have a clue. Oh dear, no. Let's find there's Razzie. Gotta get the knot on his scarf. The pacing in Snow White is killer. It's so slow. Oh, Snow White is... Oh, yeah. You know, it's been very fascinating. So, for anyone who don't know, I have this personal project of watching all the mainline animated Disney movies chronologically, and I have been through quite a lot of them. Actually, last night we saw Frozen 2 finally. We have been stalling on that one for ages, not wanting to see it. But we've been rating them, and me and my partner basically. And the most fascinating thing has been like the early Disney movies where they still didn't know how to do like dramaturgic or filmographic blah blah film movie words techniques to actually tell a story. And it's just so funny. It's hilarious. And also, like, all of the early Disney movies have like racist warning on them, which was it became more scarce in the later years. But us having not been too familiar with Peter Pan, we're like, oh, Peter Pan is a racist warning? Wonder why. Oh, okay. So, yep. Lots of flavorful history right there. Do I count Pixar in that? Yeah, I do. I finally saw The Good Dinosaur, which I have been curious about because people kept saying that that one was a beautiful disappointment, and I wondered what they meant. And I think from an entertainment perspective, for children, it's decent. And I can see why so many people would hate it, because people kept saying like, no, it's a sucky film, it's just what, losing Mufasa to the cliffs all over again and stuff like that, which is not wrong, but there's something in the artistic choices around it that I found fascinating, and I think it's hard to explain, but I read a bit more into the movie than I think many others seem to look for. Because, you know, if you have seen the dinosaur designs are silly. They are just pure dumbness, and like you wouldn't buy that at all. And it looks so silly that I'm like, it has to be because it's making a point, as in, yes, this didn't happen, for example. But let's imagine that it did happen, and let's just imagine this story. So I'm thinking it does well in that, though I both understand why it's not widely liked, but I did actually like it more. Then again comes in my personality of like, if people like it less, I might like it more, and if people like it more, I might like it less. So I like the less popular and dislike the more popular. I'm just made like that. It's not how I mean to be. What's fascinating with Disney movies, especially like in the 90s, was when they started making use of 3D assets and 3D animation, and you could see they were experimenting and trying to make good use of it, and it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. Oh, and also part of this project is to get to see all the sequels I skipped in my childhood, because I saw like the posters for sequels coming up, and I was like, sequels? Are you for real? Even in my childhood, I was like, no, sequels are bad. We know that sequels are bad. One exception being the Rescuers Down Under, because that was actually made by an A team of animators, really skilled people, and like, seems like tons of work and tons of love was poured into it. That one's pretty badass, but then comes Aladdin sequels, and you're like, oh dear, what? Did they use the G team or what? It's, yeah, all that super fascinating to see. I've also, just to up the suffering a bit, there were tons of, you know, not CG, but sort of live action animal movies with added on lip sync for voice lines and stuff. So I've never seen Air Bud, but we did watch all the spin-off movies about the puppies. So Air Bud was some basket-playing golden retriever. I don't really know the story. I always thought it was a dog flying a plane or something. Naturally. I've got some stuff to do. You're lurking. Nice. You go do your stuff. I'll be yapping about the Buddies movies, apparently. But yeah, I've suffered the 5 golden retriever puppy movies about all sorts of things. Yeah, appreciate the Disney jab. Nice. And I'm like, it was fun to watch them for the memes. Oh boy, are they bad. And these 5 golden retriever puppies all are like just very monochromatic personalities, which is, yeah, it's too dumb, and I find it funny because of it. But you have like the hip-hop puppy, the dirty puppy, the food-loving puppy, the Zen Buddhist puppy, and the girl puppy. And those are the personalities. And I find it so vitally fascinating. And stupid, of course. So those were great. There were tons of those, plus the spin-off of the spin-off, which was the Santa Paws, about the Santa puppy who didn't believe in Christmas. Just lots of stuff. It was great. It's Samuel, you know it. But I'm not sure if I'm even gonna draw his face here. Is he just gonna be blank? No, we dot the eyes. That's all he gets. Where is he? There he is. Little rascal. Little rascal Samuel. Here we go. That's as much detail as I can afford. We also suffered through the Beverly Hills Chihuahua movies, which was actually the first one. Wasn't all that bad. It was dumb, of course, but it wasn't all that bad. But then Beverly Hills Chihuahua 2 and 3, the funny part is how they kept swapping the actors. And so we would be following the actors who were having their romance issues. And they would never be the same people. And there would be nothing necessary happening ever in there. So I've been watching these as I wouldn't say a study, but if I'm gonna talk shit about Disney or talk about the movies in general, it doesn't have to be bad stuff, you know. I have to have watched it. Could be. Oh, what is that arm doing? It's useless. But given my background in having studied animation, it felt like a useful thing to do. And while, well, very few of the movies are perfect, we started the rating scale going from 1 to 5. Then in came Lion King, and we were like, oh, okay, we gotta put the scale up to 6 because the music in Lion King is pretty banger. It's pretty good. Wow. All right, Samuel, you're go home. You're drunk. Who are we targeting? Character back or character front? I kind of want Pirate Captain to be on the front layer, so I'm gonna move him. There we go. Then we can apply those characters to character back. Alright. Excuse me. What happened? What did I do now? Character. Why did I apply it to there? What happened? Oh, I've been drawing right on it. That's what's happening. Alright. Dual swapper Vinny. Away they go. Up here, down there, delete, and then apply there, delete. Alright. We're all good. All set. Captain Grumpy. Yeah. It's a grumbly captain. drawing people from a distance requires some reduced detailing, which is surprisingly challenging. What am I looking at? What's that? Oh no, I have to sneeze. Cool. That spooked the birds. Alright, just some rat sticking in there. And he's actually quite a tall guy. He's just as big as Fadil actually. So he should be way taller. Here we go. Is Arndt strong? Probably. If he has proportionally same muscle strength and density of a real rat, I think it's pretty darn strong. I'm only guessing how that works, but basing it off what they say about toddlers, that proportionally a toddler is as dense with muscles and as strong as a bull. Like if you just enlarged the baby to bull size, it would be as strong. And if you're enlarging a rat, it's probably something around those lines. Those rat lines. Hey, Explorer! Hello! Happy Monday! Hope you had a good weekend. It's a new day, it's a new time for drawing rats. Or so it seems. Right, that arm is kind of avoiding being in the shot. That's kind of bad. Don't hide arms. If any of you guys are drawing and find hands and arms and limbs to be hard, don't hide them. Don't avoid it. Face your fears. Oh, what the heck. Yes, that's how it's gonna be. It's gonna be looking awkward. And I'm gonna own it. Conquer your drawing. You find everything hard? Great, then you can draw everything. And it will be just as challenging. We're doing this for the challenge, you know? Alright, that's Arndt, then we do Fadil. I cannot just be like, okay, this is that random character, this is this random character. I can't handle it. I have to know. I must know that it is this particular character, and it is logical that he's there right now. This looks like the mouth. It's not, but it looks like so. Too funny. Well, that's him now. Nightmare, hello. Hi everyone. I should check certain analytics. I just realized. You guys know certain streamers have like age restrictions going on their streams for various reasons. They might not be doing bad or inappropriate stuff for their streams, but they might have some valid points in that the stuff they stream are not made for kids and anything. Now, so far, I don't really know what age group I'm necessarily streaming to. Like that French artist we rated, yeah. And his channel, yeah, I didn't realize that his channel was age restricted like that, but it is for a good reason. I got curious and read on his rule set, like 18 plus. We don't want those parasocial relationship stuff happening, which is extremely valid. And while I don't want to moderate that kind of stuff, it's something that bit me a bit as, well, yeah, that's quite true. We don't really want that parasocial stuff happening. Parasocial relationships. It's a thing that happens quite easily with streamers these days. And I find that with, let's see, I'm probably not good with explaining it either, but it's basically when you get the feeling of knowing someone because you watch a lot of their content, or like you might be, for example, interacting in a chat, but like, do you truly know them? And streamers who have, yeah, you're gonna search it up. Yeah, look it up. It's interesting, but also a good thing to know about because of just being mindful of what you do and how you interact on the internet. But large streamers might get problems with people who kind of build these parasocial relationships where fans become very obsessed with the streamer, and the streamer barely knows who they are because they have like 1,000 people in their chat. And some viewers might end up getting very strong feelings for the streamer, which is problematic. It's kind of a dangerous thing in terms of mental health as well. And it's a problem that the streamer can't really control. True. A streamer can, if they're mindful, be act in ways that that don't necessarily enable growth of that parasocial vibe, but it's kind of normal as well. I think I heard it's a funny story about some guy this was in Norway, who saw someone on public transport or just on the street and was like, hey, I know this person, I gotta go and greet them. I can't really place where they're from or like where I remember them from, but I know this person. And the guy walks up to her and just has a chat like, hey, oh, long time no see, like, how you doing, all that jazz. Only to later realize that he didn't truly know this person. It just was some public figure, some politician that he had recognized and be like, oh, who is this? I can't place it, but I gotta go say hi. Like, I remember this person. Surely I've met them. So, parasocial stuff happens all the time from, say, any public figure is basically possible for people to sort of make a parasocial relationship with. But for streamers' part, like politicians and what do you call them? Oh, what do you call them? Celebrities, yes. Celebrities will also notice that, like fans and paparazzis and people go crazy. Like we just spy on their lives and create our headcanons of how they are and everything, and some people go kind of crazy about it. But yeah, main point is that we want to avoid that. So let's all be mindful. I don't want to be moderating my chat in that regard, but I do state that my streams are not like explicitly made for kids. But I appreciate that you guys are hanging around. Not saying that you are kids though, because I can't know. This is the internet. But I do also understand why people do want to age restrict. It doesn't have to involve things like drugs and alcohol and stuff like that. It can just be the honest need to protect also younger viewers from building unhealthy mental habits. Anyway, that's a ramble that wasn't very Disney. I've been thinking about that since we raided Percival. But it's cool. We're here to chill and to yap. And to draw rats, specifically. Lots of rats. When you do like a personal that you prefer to know that person in real life. Yeah. And that's a healthy condition to place, really. And it's quite how do you say? It's good when you if people build friendships over the internet, like people you chat with on your regular chatting channels or whatever. These days, people know people from all around the world. It's not unthinkable for people to decide that they will meet up and stuff. But of course, under strictly safe conditions. Wait, what am I doing? Oh no. I applied this strat to the wrong layer. I'm not gonna bother fixing that. I remember when I was a kid, well, in my early teens, I were active on certain web forums, but I lived way up north. And the internet was kind of new. It was not as messy as it is today, honestly. But I noticed there was a group of friends in the southern part of the country who did meetups and stuff, and I wanted so bad to be joining on that too. And my mom was like, no, you can't just go meet people from the internet. I've done so later on, once I got older, and for my range of interests, there's and from being like grown up and old enough to know how to navigate safely and stuff, all that stuff, I haven't had problems with meeting up with people from the internet, because, well, people with my interests are usually not scammers or out there with malicious intents. But the scariest stuff is when people might be pretending to be someone they are not on the internet. Maybe because if the person is as wholesome as the internet persona, then it makes you happy. Yeah. When it's only online friendship, you try not to ask too personal stuff. Yeah, but that's a good habit. Like not oversharing on the internet and not overtly digging about stuff. It's a nice, respectful habit. Nightmare asks me, how am I today? I'm doing good. I had my weekend. I didn't draw much, and that feels okay. I managed to do some gaming actually. However, if you guys remember, I was talking about, oh, should I be playing Tears of the Kingdom or Breath of the Wild again? I think yesterday I was intending to start playing, and the Switch was depleted. I am a terrible Nintendo owner. If it can't be plugged in, if it isn't plugged in constantly, or it has like a rechargeable battery, I will not keep it continuously in the dock because I don't want to ruin the battery, but that just results in the batteries depleting all the time. So whenever I want to play, the thing is too depleted and I cannot play it right now. So that happened and no play was done. The boundaries, especially when you're communicating with a person on Twitch or on YouTube where anyone else watching the stream now knows the thing. Yeah, that stuff has limits. I can definitely relate to some people come with a desire to like, or I know I'm speaking for me personally, but if I see that someone has a chat that shows up on screen, like I do feel more compelled to say something in the chat. Look, Ma, I'm on TV, you know? But it's quite a useless useless thing that isn't necessary, and it is probably best for oh no, I lost it. Whatever. It's good. You guys are sane. It's we're good. Cybercrime is increasing day by day. Yeah. Okay, damn, got lost into internet safety. Yeah, well, I started thinking about that after we raided Percival Robin. Or my cyber criminals getting caught, and there being more day by day. Yeah, I wouldn't know. I don't walk around too much. Cybercrime is a lot of different things. It's not only the, what do you call it even? Catfishing? Is it catfishing? People approaching on the internet, pretending to be someone they are not, and building a relationship through that, luring someone into trusting them and either fooling them into giving money or fooling them to meet up, and bad things happen. How many days do I think the comic will take? We're at page 45 at the moment, and we're going to page 110, supposedly. So at least 110 days. No, at least. Wait, I'm not mathing properly. At least 90, 100 days, 90. I can't math. Many days. 110 is 20 more than 90. 45 is half of 90. Plus 20 is 65 days at least. Someone almost hacked our Linux computer. Oh, hello, Ebony. Yeah. And bad thing about that is how the OS, like computer development, is just becoming garbage, and has been for the past, well, 10 years. It's been bad for a while, man. It's been bad. All guys, which just hop off the digital train and that's a guy there. I can't join there. Hop off the digital train and start making art in real life. Let's move back to traditional. Go out, touch grass. There's some contexts like pretending to be a minor. Real life Among Us. Yeah. You almost got hacked by a person you trusted a lot? Yeah. That's scary business, Nightmare. Yeah. Even if if a friend of you is sending links or like trying to fool you into stuff, yeah. Be careful. There are on various social media apps and platforms, there's lots of stuff that can go wrong. Be sure to have ways of double checking security with your friends. And don't blindly trust links and stuff. Also, if a link takes you to a page that looks like something familiar and asks you to log in, don't try to log in. Especially if you suspect that, oh, but I should already be logged in. Double check the URL and move away. Don't. Yeah. Stay safe, folks. When you were a young idiot, roaming Discord aimlessly and got your account lost and got it. No. Yeah, that's rough. Yeah. Bad things happen. Losing the account is rough. I know someone who lost their because of their lack of two-factor authentication. They got their account hacked because of access to some old email address that was poorly protected. Got their Discord hacked, and they started just posting one particular scam post, which is spam posting photos of some Bitcoin, whatever. I don't understand why or how the bot operates like that, because at this point Discord should just recognize that image and follow a user, and like if this is being posted in several channels or something, that could just be a automatic ban. Shouldn't be hard, really. Says I, as if I know anything about technology. Among Us game is dead. Yeah, not in real life. People are playing the hardcore stuff. And it's not fun when people are kind of playing the Among Us without your consent and you're in danger. Anyway, how did this... Yes, no. I derailed from my Disney talk because I wanted to talk about the parasocial relationship dangers of... Well, it's something about mental health, at least. Or something to be aware of to protect personal mental health as well. And I've had not necessarily parasocial encounters, but I've had disappointments in life where what was a professional acquaintance, me being very lonely, I kind of got fooled into thinking that an editor was my friend. And it was kind of a rough learning. I might be an idiot, but I was also a lonely idiot. So, thing was, I was doing this freelance work for a publisher, and I was very lonely. And I would have meetings with an editor who would be praising me a lot, praising my work, praising like how well I was doing and how much he loved it and everything. But anytime I try to be like, oh, how are you doing? How's life? Or like asking those kinds of questions, he would be instant cold and not really responding, which was puzzling because why would a person be praising me if he wasn't interested in talking more? Later, I came to learn about this is not as severe as it can be, but the concept called grooming. I shouldn't talk too much about that because I don't understand it quite. But just being praised a lot as a way to butter up my ego and also make me want to work more, probably. Thing is, when that stuff is unsincere and I realize it, I don't get motivated. I want people to be sincere. Am I gonna make this comic public? Well, as public as the publisher makes it. It's first up is that this book is going to be printed and published in Norway. And I keep dreaming and hoping about an international release, though I do suspect that will take a couple more years because even with this book, the story isn't finished. There is going to be a third book, and unless someone is really hyped and want to get started with the translation work right away, the international crowd is not seeing the book. It's not going to be like public on the internet. It's probably going to be made available for purchase if it gets translated. This is all in like the Theora hub. Oh my god, you guys are chatting so much, and my chat is too small. I can't. Hold on. Can't follow you all. Gotta stretch the chat. There we go. You're in a couple of Discord servers, and occasional people from the Discord gets hacked. Spam fake scams. Yeah. The friend I knew who lost his account to that specific photos of Bitcoin hack, whatever, on Twitter scam, that one, he got his account back. So it's a tiresome process, but it is possible. Legendary YouTuber mentioned. Oh, nightmare! You hoped you could see it, but you guess not. I think possibly you can, but it will take some years. So the answer will be not right now. Also, I'm yapping here while I'm kind of doing sort of pointless cleanup stuff, or so it feels like, trying to not be too accurate. But this is it's an easy pitfall for me. I get easily distracted by, ooh, I gotta clean up this mess. Mm-mm. Feeling this way. Oh, didn't see. Thank you for the follow. I should just get the comics done and then the international release. Because I'll get tangled up in a mess. Ooh, you are so close to being like on point with that one. You don't even know it. Part of what has been stalling me since the first book came out was that I had agreed to participate in a bunch of stuff to promote the book, which involved doing presentations and get this, loud readings from the comic book. And I am not very comfortable with doing that sort of stuff. I'm not comfortable with holding a presentation. I'm barely comfortable with doing a slideshow. I prefer not really being the star of the show in that one. If I'm going to present something and follow a script, or even just trying to read something with some heart to it, I'm not a performer in that regard, and so I'm wildly uncomfortable with it. I had said yes to do stuff like that, and it just, all that energy spent on something that wasn't continuing the comic, it felt like such a waste, and it really made me super tired, and I ended up not really having the juice to carry on working further on the comic. So that was kind of it was the bad arc, the dark times. A business theory, yeah. Now, some people are good at multitasking in that regard. Some people do fine. I don't. Because from how much I hate doing presentations, it just takes too much out of me. And I have to super mega focus on that stuff in order to be able to perform it. And it's not even worth that much. It doesn't give you much. Hydrate? Oh dear. But I'm out of coffee. Nightmare asks, do I do traditional art? I do, sometimes. It's been a while now, and it probably will be a while till next time, but I sometimes do stream traditional art with a webcam pointing down at my desk. So that might happen occasionally, but it's kind of clunky. I don't really have the space for it at the moment. But yeah, I do traditional art. Hydration was had. Own shrimp. Alright, I'll give it a stretch as well. Arms up. Ooh. Hydrate with water? Yes. I have consumed water as part of my hydration. Alright. What we got? Look at these guys. You know the stretch is good. You hear their back pop. I'm not quite there. It's kind of. I do feel quite crusty in the morning. It's like I have to crack like unfold the middle of my chest. It's not very comfortable. Feels like I'm getting crusty and old. Is art hard from my perspective? That's a good question, Nightmare. Depends what you put into art, I guess. I will have to get one thing straight though, which is I dislike art, as in high art, cultured art stuff. I don't like it. It's not my thing. Modern art or like high art, I don't like that stuff. I fail to appreciate it. What's happening here? Yeah. But making illustrations is not technically hard. It's not technically hard to draw characters who walk around and do acting. I will say no. Sometimes it's hard to have lines go where you want them to, or get the feel you want to. But no, I don't find it hard. If you stretch, you can snap your neck into place. Oh. Metaphorical meaning of hard. But no, I think for me, I'm kind of far into drawing and making figures appear to feel that it's hard. It can be difficult for a beginner to start building characters from primitive shapes. But I don't find it hard, no. Oh my goodness, can I just do this? No, I cannot do this? Why? I wanna. Let me. There. I'm wired. Hello. Traditional artist, but you're heavily looking forward to learning digital art and animating? Nice. That is fun. Oh, but traditional animation is also quite fun. I love that. Flipping the paper back and forth. Alright, we got the rats. Wow, congrats. That's the worst rhyme so far today. Very, very bad forced rhyme. I apologize. You like animation with a peg bar, but you hate scanning it? Oh, real. Too real. You don't have to scan it though. You can have a photo setup, but it still worked. I get you. Your first animation was in Flipbook? Out of sticky notes? Heck yeah. That's fun stuff. I like it. Alright, save this. Now, next up there is just drawing some inks all we need is just to define some of. We know there is some forest besides, like, on the right hand side, and since I do want this to be carrying itself all right with without color, like so, kind of need to define the slope here. I kind of need to do a better job. The better job is not happening. Okay, that's fine too. We do this. We do this. And that will have to do. Great. We're good. Traditional animation is hard because of no copy and paste? What do you mean? It's not hard, it just requires more work. Because if you need to copy or paste something, you gotta use the light table and trace it. I did study animation because I wanted to get good at art, or I wanted to like max out drawings done to kind of get my reps in for getting better at drawing. Like a drawing workout. Digital animation is harder for you because you learn traditional. That's an interesting one. So, like, animation-wise, the principles are the same, but it depends, like, what software you're used to, I suppose. Wildly supposing. Let's see, okay, I can delete from here. I can just delete the entirety of this. There, all clean. Good. That's one panel down. Like, this page is almost finished, it just lacks the, well, the final parts. You'll be busy, Glitch Star? Alright. In case you want to return, have a nice day. Alright, thank you. And you too, Glitch Star. Have a great day. Thank you for chiming in, as always. Okay. Well, if I can't decide what I want to do, I might as well just target the background layer and get started on defining some parts. Now, I will, for simplicity, I will make a selection here so that I don't have to be clean about making lines. Clean about making lines within certain boundaries. So I will remove this part of the selection. Oh no, I was wrong. No. Whoa. What happened? We invert it? No? Come on. Yeah, that's inverted. Then we deselect this part. No. Refer layers. I gotcha. Right. There we go. Alright. We're good. We're good. Now I can go the places I want to, but I'll deselect this part because that's just in the way. You're gonna learn digital art because most artists you know do digital, so why not? Well, that's fair, Nightmare. What is cool about traditional art is that you end up getting a physical object. And for a making money standpoint, some people are more interested in stuff that does have originals, as in original artwork that can be well bought and sold, stuff like that. So it's about what you want to accomplish with it. Digital is good for high output and for practice, and like even if it might cost a bunch to get started, to get the correct digital tools and programs to work with, it doesn't have to be expensive, but it might be costly. You probably save some money on making the art digitally because it doesn't cost you supplies for, say, paint or paper, brushes, lots of stuff. What app do I use for art because you have never done digital? I'm using quite a powerful app, which is widely known as Clip Studio Paint. Unfortunately, it costs money. I got it on sale at some point. It is a very good app, but there are free options out there where, yeah, I think Krita is the one I would recommend because it is open source. It allows you to do animation. It can be difficult to learn because it is very dense in terms of it has a lot of functions. Basically, there's a lot you can do with it, which is cool and all, but for one learning digital art, it can be, well, it's lots of stuff to click on. For learning to do digital art, what I do recommend is just click everything. See what buttons do. See what brushes do. If there's something that doesn't work as you want it to, or you want to achieve something, some function or anything, you have to search up, like, how do I do this? How do I solve this problem? That can be very difficult when you are unfamiliar with digital art and don't really know the language of it. Like, there are some terms that are very specific to digital art, which is, for example, transparency, opacity. Transparency lock is one very common one. For me, that is this tiny checker box with a lock icon. If I hit that, I will be locking that transparency. What does it mean? It means that I cannot draw new stuff, but I can color what I already drew. That one took me a long while to figure out in, like, well, dang, that is over 20 years ago. But stuff like that. You will be learning tips and tricks along the way. And the good thing is that if you get used to learning new things, learning how to use art apps, many of them carry over the same concepts or solutions to certain things. So if you know one, then it shouldn't be too hard to get into a second program. That might be different in some ways, but otherwise lets you do a lot of the same things. which is why I recommend Krita, not because I'm very good at using it myself, but I know that you can make animation in there, like hand-drawn animation, and you know you can do just digital art. And since it is free and open source, it's quite a safe bet. Like, I don't think Krita is going to be shitty at any point, but it might be as chaotic to get into as, for example, 3D software like Blender. Oh, also, thank you, Nightmare. I'm slowly getting more subs on the YouTubes. It's very nice. Streaming to you guys has definitely grown the audience a bit, which is fun to see. I'm happy. Like, I'm doing this as a hangout, but what it does work as is it also doubles as a way for me to spread the word that, hello, I exist, I make art, I'm making this comic, and you bet I will be shouting it out whenever the time comes that my comics are available in English. But until then, this is just a chill out, yap, art type of channel. So I'm having a good time. Hope you guys are doing too. You're gonna start digital art right now? Nice. You go, Nightmare. You can do it. I might have mentioned it, but in the early days when I was going to start learning to use digital tools for animation, super early, I don't know why my dad had a license for what at the time was known as Macromedia Flash, later Adobe Flash, now known as Adobe Animate. But he had that. I knew that Flash animations were a thing. It's no longer a thing because Flash support has been discontinued. I was like, oh, I wanna learn to animate. I'm gonna do it. I'll open Flash. And so I double click the icon, I open the program, I look at the UI, and I close it. It was so overwhelming to open it. It's which was funny in itself. It's too good. I did it a second time. I was like, okay, that was overwhelming. I didn't know what to click, and I didn't get to do it the thing that I wanted. But I'm gonna open the app again. I'm going to retry. I'm gonna do it. And I opened Flash, and I closed it again. I couldn't. It was too powerful. After that, I finally manned up to click around on things and see what they did. And then I started looking up some tutorials and everything. My English at the time wasn't that well developed, so navigating and troubleshooting especially was not the easiest. Oh, I see how it is. Interesting. I think I'm just going to... You didn't know it cost money? Krita doesn't cost money. Krita is free to use, but you can't find it on the Windows Store. You will have to find the web page. Hold on. Clip Studio Paint does cost money. Here, I'll find the... Krita... Here. Here's the link for Krita, where you can download it. Should I really be doing it that way? Should I do it otherwise? I don't know. Well, since it has been inked, maybe I don't really need it. You like the way I draw plants? Thank you! Oh no, did I choose the wrong... Oh, I did. This is... I'm getting confused. Should I... Nope. Wait. Yeah, I mixed them up. You're not really watching the stream nightmare, you're just talking and working on learning art. But yeah, you're here. That's very nice. I still appreciate it. It's nice to have people around to yap to. And then just the woods. Now I'm getting mumbly because I'm trying to keep things tidy, and that is harder when I'm trying to like figure out where I am, what I'm doing. Yeah, this is the one I'm working on. We want not that. Like so. This shouldn't be hard or confusing. I'm just being too messy to keep track. Download isn't working and your PC is lagging. Yeah. It's not... I don't know what requirements there are for computers, but that's also one thing that probably not all computers can take it, which is a shame, but that's how things are. And it depends on permissions you have to do stuff on your PC, like whether or not someone else is managing what you can and cannot do with it. So there might be some roadblocks there that I don't know of. Now for the rest, we have most things accounted for, I think. Yeah. That looks good. Okay. I dislike how messy I am being with this. I'm not usually this messy. It just happened to be like so as a way to figure out the layout of a rather messy and complex background. And especially these plants is something I haven't really practiced drawing. Now, if I hide my inks for a moment, I can do the magical button push, like so. And with that, we can make a selection of the panel. Make sure we delete anything outside of that. Then it will look messy like this. Oh, maybe I shouldn't deselect actually. Maybe I'll just... Wait. Yes. Like so. Characters are in front of there anyways. Ah, you have to leave, Nightmare? Alright. Bye bye. Thank you for popping by and being here. Have a good one. Now what am I noticing? There's this debris. It isn't important, but it bothers me. I see it is. Uh-huh. Okay, it's not that bad or important. No worries. Doesn't even matter. Because it's colored on top. That's fine. And with my inks visible, looks tidy enough. I can... If I hide this one, that's what we're seeing, but... Whoops. Okay, I'll be... This is entirely cosmetic. It's not useful for anything. It's just that I like seeing things as tidy. Like so. Alright, then I can merge this one. Hold the mask. Hold I maska. Then it falls. We've got the background characters. I'm just pushing everything to be closer to, like, being darker. Closer to black so I can tell things better. Not apart, but still get an idea of how dark they are. Oh, it itches. My wrists. Alright, we're moving forward. Next up is... Oh yeah, I gotta also... Again, delete stuff that was added in here. All that stuff was temporary. Now it's gone. Next panel. Only 2 to go. I hope I'll be getting more done than only this page today. But I'm not relying on it. I'm not expecting it. It's purely up to, well, my own will and power. So, one thing I can do here is make a selection of his hand here. We grab his hands. It's not that visible. You can barely see the underside of his palms. That's like the most useless design thing I have on this guy is his little finger markings. I try to keep the character designs pretty simple. This is perhaps the most complex part of him. Well, aside from also that he's supposed to have a gradient that goes brighter towards his chin. It's kind of weird, but that's how it is. Now, since I started doing that, I should probably go ahead and do so with the rest of him, just to have him ready for the proper colors. All in good fun. Okay, that was enough procrastinating. Now back to inking some background stuff. I'll continue making a selection, I think, of the character just to mask it away, or I can just delete it from here and it'll not be a problem. Neat. I can make that true for this one as well. That way I can draw over wherever I want, but whenever I merge it, it'll stay hidden, basically. It's always to stay messy, but this should be like quickly done. I shouldn't spend too much time on it, because you know, we don't have that much time. So if I'm saying it will take 60, like at least 60 days to finish this, that is not counting delays caused by weekends. How many months? What year is it? August, September, October, November, December. 4 months. Yeah, I might be able to ink the whole thing over the next 4 months. But after that, I still gotta do color. And that's gonna be a whole process as well. hopefully I'll be working quick with it. One thing I should also remind myself is that I get to pay myself whenever I finalize inks. That should be motivating, but downside with it is that I have been needing money for things, and then there have been payouts that weren't exactly deserved, and I'm trying to track those, trying to keep track of them, and I'm trying to sort of work myself in, but it is never happening. It's pretty much a lost cause at this point, and not that it means anything. It's just my way of trying to handle the money, like the funds that I got. What do I think is better for comics? Better character art with simple backgrounds? Better backgrounds with simple character art? First and foremost, it's probably the story that's better, but I tend to appreciate good character art over good background art. Of course, I love it when both are good, but if character art lacks readable expressions, that has automatically less appeal to me. There's one comic I read once, only the first book, which it was like praised by Mike Mignola or someone legendary, but I read it and it just annoyed me that characters where you never got the feeling of what emotions any character was displaying. They were just talking and hanging around and sometimes choosing violence. But I felt like through the character art, I didn't really know any of the characters. And that posed an issue for me, and like how much I eventually enjoyed the comic, which was not a lot. It was praised for having great art, but it was just lots of black areas in the drawings, which can be a very good effect. It can be used. It can be used for good, but it certainly was not. It didn't hit me in a good way. But that's also something that depends on taste, and it depends what fits the story as well. But I do enjoy good character art. And good character art that has like some level of being unique or interesting at least. Like, I don't read much of the Japanese comics because I don't find a lot of the style genres appealing in that field. Especially like, then mostly speaking about the more commercially popular stuff that is also widely regarded as a style. Which I don't like to give Japanese comics, I wouldn't say credit, but I don't like to view Japanese comics as a style, because there's a ton of styles within that sphere. Although many of them carry similarities, and they certainly have their own genre of shape language and expression language. But there are some quiet comics that don't really go deep into good character art, or at least, the thing is, it's not bad, but it's often simplistic style. Characters have dots for eyes, but their outfits might be well designed and well thought through. Oh dear. Thought out. That's the That's the phrasing. And so stuff might be carrying a good semi realistic level, while the characters are of different shapes and heights, but it's not bad even if it's simple. I think I'm kind of yapping myself far away with that one. But backgrounds are for indication of where a character is, and perhaps setting the vibe, or just telling snippets like when and where are you. Is it a fantasy setting? Is it happening out in nature? It's backgrounds are good pointers, but you don't need a lot, or it doesn't have to be complex to give that information. So in that regard, I'll definitely say that prioritize good readable characters. I mean, I for sure prioritize character art a lot, but I'm also repeatedly challenged to draw environments that were written in to be there, and that now I have to draw it. Doesn't really matter whether or not it's good. I am holding up to high standards, but they're not necessary. Like, this level of detail isn't necessary. I could probably tell the story better, but I'm not that efficient. I'm not that good. Really good people, like high skill artists, might probably have better solutions to this than I do. That's kind of a cool thought. I also enjoy the interactions of characters. So to me, the playing around with expressions is very fun. I have, however, read stories where I haven't really been that impressed by the character art, but that kind of ends up being comics where it's not really the art, it is the story that is the star of the show. And as long as the drawings do the job, that's good enough for a comic story to get noticed. As much as I hate to admit that, because in my earlier days I would be like, oh, I don't want to read this because it's ugly. I want good art. I don't care for the story, I want good art. But the older I get, I'm like, yeah, but I have to kind of buy the story as well. Otherwise, it's kind of a waste. And I see a lot of that. Lots of well executed, terrible stories. Just bad stuff that doesn't make sense. Which is, it's a bummer. Feels like a waste of talent. I feel a lot of later Disney content is like that. It's always, yeah, everything looks pretty. It looks pretty grand. Beautiful work as always, but your stories suck every time. fun to play around with any element of art. Yeah. What I respect the most is when I can feel and notice that people had fun with something, even if it isn't perfect. If I can feel that someone who weren't particularly good at something really had their fun with doing something, I can respect that. I respect it deeply, actually, and I can appreciate it. It's all to various degrees, of course, but at some point, it's not the quality level, but how much love you notice was put into it that matters. Of course, not all of them can hit the spot just right. Some things end up being like, yeah, I can tell you put a lot of time into this and that it means a lot to you, but this isn't great. Which is the sad laws of being lots of people in the world. Not everyone is great at something. But some things can be silly and dumb, and you can tell that people had super mega fun with it. And that's always a charm. Which was, well, I will admit, I was entertained at Frozen 2. We didn't rate it. Alright, it did get a fairly good rating, actually, but I do dislike the Frozen franchise. Well, they're not exactly good with borrowing Nordic lore, for one, and all that. But there's a lot of storytelling issues I notice, which is like, oh, character just returned from a thing, and now everyone just accepts what happened. Nobody talks about it. We're just vibing along and moving on. And I like to know, like, why did everyone start chanting, or why is there a song now? Stuff like that. But that's a personal hang-up. What I did appreciate was Disney knowing that they made a very silly music number with Kristoff being all sappy sad and wondering, like, oh, what am I to do? Is trying to propose. But yeah, that musical number was very much like, okay, you can tell people made it silly for the fun of it. And I can appreciate that. All in good fun. Right, is that it for the inks? I think it is. I did something stupid now, right? Yes, I did. Some stupid things were done. Some overlapping here. Otherwise good. Okay. We're good and clean. And again with the cleaning up arg. How can I go about it? I want to be cleaner. Let's hide the effects layer and the cross-hatching. Okay, that's... The woods are accounted for. Good. Then the leaves. Hold on, what am I looking at? Trying to keep my focus. This is why I ended up blocking stuff out with color, because this would be too messy to handle with just inks. What's that? Is that a leaf? Alright. Think we have it. Got all the old bases covered. I'm gonna fill just something in here. Like so. Then I can do my selection of the inks. And remember to delete that from the color. Then we have this thing. Make a selection of that. Hit my button. It's super slow that I'm doing like this panel by panel and not like in one go. But it's fine. I don't mind. Like so. That way we have a clean panel. Got some cross hatching. And the background. Yeah, how does that look? Oh, come on. In comparison, we just clean it up a bit. Paste that. Hold the mask. And that's another panel down. Great. Looks awesome. Thank you. I'm still considering to add a some dialogue. Oh, I forgot about the flump. Well, later. Some dialogue here. I'll have to consider that later. Which, by the way, don't do that. You should plan it properly. But in this instance, I'm just following my draft, which is good enough level. But it isn't, how to say it, it's not great story-wise. It could serve more functions than just being like, oh, look here. They're not saying very useful stuff, basically. And they could be enriching the story by saying more interesting things. So that's an opportunity I have, which I haven't yet latched onto, basically. I will have to be reading through this and perhaps considering later, like, do I want to do things here? Do I want to improve stuff? We'll have to see. But for the time being, it's just kept simple. I don't really want to touch that flumph text, but I should. I should. I don't want to. Oh, I gotta handle some things. There's an area on the couch that is at risk of receiving poop stains, and we try to avoid that by covering it up. But also, I'm going to pour some more water in the bird bath. The birds have a tray of water where they can have a soak, but the water's kind of shallow at the moment. So I'm filling it in. Give them some room to splash. Oh no, I'm being naughty. I'm grabbing sweets. In a class for school, they taught about drawing and used lots of artists as an example of different forms of art. Yeah. As one should. There are many ways to do art. One thing young artists worry a bit too much about is like finding a style. That's a very common one. I remember going to class with someone who, I mean, of course nobody would accept it if they were told that, but it was someone I went to class to who was talking so much about finding a style. But what I could tell from his drawings was that his understanding of shape, like drawing shape and form and getting gesture and stuff, he didn't have that stuff down. And I tried telling him that, but dude, why do you worry about style? You are not good enough at this point. You haven't built the skill to worry about that yet. Why are you worrying about that? And he didn't want to listen to that. Who was I to stop him? No idea how it went from there. Haven't seen his art since, but he did continue drawing, which is ideally what I want people to do. Even if I say stuff like, "Oh, you're not good enough," it's I still want people to keep going. Have I seen Gosho Aoyama? Don't think so. Blue Mountain, for real? It's like pencil stuff. Certainly has the retro feel of stuff. Wait, am I? Yeah. I had to mute for a sec. Detective Conan. Yeah, I've heard about that. That one. I'm still trying to understand, like, the appeal of that branch of style. Because it's wildly varied, and some of it kind of matches my taste, and some do not. But Detective Conan looks like what's to be considered as quite classic retro Japanese comic art. Though for that, if we're talking about old Japanese comics, I think the early Dragon Ball stuff is might be my favorite. Probably because it has a a roundness to it that roundness or softness to it that I haven't seen much else, which makes it a bit more unique. What is this shapeless twig? Please be a bit more inventive. Looks like I can't be bothered. We're not being inventive today. We're just assuming shapes of things. I think Toriyama, you mean he preferred his older art? Shifted away from it because of, well, high demands of continued making the Dragon Ball. Yeah, I never got into like later Dragon Ball stuff because that's when stuff started looking too silly. The look of like screaming angry men with crazy abs and pecs wasn't quite an appeal for 10-year-old me. Don't quote you on that. We'll see. Here we go. Oh, I forgot to move the picture here down so I can see what I'm doing. Well, perhaps any vertical users cannot see what I'm doing, but that's fine. It's most important for my own sake. I think ideally I should be taking a break at some point. How long have we been on? Two and a half hours almost. It is perhaps time for a break. Just doing some correspondence. If I'm clearing my throat, that's because I choked on hydration a couple of minutes ago. But it's good, don't worry. We're good. What the heck am I looking at? Weird artifacts on sketch? Oh yeah. What? Okay, weird artifacts. I think it's time to save your progress. Just in case. Oh yeah, there's a rendering issue going on. But clips to do when I'm panning around. There's funny stuff happening. Thankfully, it's not a big deal. Probably just graphic drivers doing a poor job. I can't believe they're outside the cave. 2 more pages and they will be going inside. They will enter. We're going to enter the cave. And for the next scene, I am feeling that there will be some changes. Might be that once I finish up the next 3 pages, well, this one and two more. Once that is done, I will see how much I'll manage to stream. Might be I'll be doing more thinker work that isn't quite stream friendly, though in the past I have been doing manuscript streaming anyways. It's just less yappy, but it's part of the process. Depends how well I manage to balance my focus. If I end up feeling that I can't focus to save my soul, then my only choice will be to stream working on it. Oh yeah, yeah, right. I forgot. There was this break I was talking about. I gotta do that. Yeah. Save your progress. I'm going to... What? I'm going to BRB. And I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Alright, bye. Hello. I've snuck back from the abyss. No, I can't stay for too long. So I'll give it, yeah, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. Sadly, I'll have to end soon. But till then, we can look at getting some stuff done. Ideally, I'd finish up this page. I don't think I managed to do that in 15 minutes. But we'll see. I'm looking forward to getting a different environment to try drawing when they're inside the cave. Walking there, it's going to be a different, well, not entirely different color scheme, but it's going to have different vibes, different details. Like these trees here are all well and good. The tracks, the footprints, they're not fun. They're too much work. But it'll be nice to have a break from it. The good thing though is that I've gotten quite some practice with it. That feels nice. But the good thing here is that I'll be giving this kind of foliage a rest, and later when I come back to it, maybe I'll have processed the ways about it a bit more, and then I'll do like, it'll be a sort of recharge and processing for learning. Like basically I'll be learning in the back of my head. Feels like my learning has been quite built on instinct out of that. I remember when I was using color pencils way back. At some point, I had in no way read about or had any experience that kind of led me to actively think that I was going to use color pencils in a certain way. I basically woke up one day and went, this is how I'm going to use the color pencils. This is my instinct for using them. And I don't know where it came from. Basically from first when you use color pencils, it's kind of like, all right, we're filling the shape. Okay, cool. Then you're leveling up a bit and you're starting to get the feel for like, all right, it looks nicer and neater if we follow with sort of parallel strokes. And then later it would be like, okay, but What if I do a gradient of a color here and a gradient of a different color from the other side, like this? Ooh, like that sort of evolution happening. And I don't know how that happened. I haven't been paying attention. I was just one day I woke up and chose using color pencils in, at the time, a very slow way. I have a cousin. I remember him teasing me for spending hours on some things, which had me not want to continue on the drawing for some reason. But it was a fair point. Like, oh, I had spent all this time working on something that still only looked half finished. Also, hi, Wired. Welcome back. You disappeared for a while? Yeah, I did too. And I'm going to disappear soon. Don't quite know when, but soon. Soon, TM. But it's been a good time for Yapping, for Disney Talk, Disney Roast, Real Talk. Don't dive too deep in the parasocial life, kids and teens. Be aware. Be aware. Stay safe on the internet. Yada yada. We're learning so much today. While also trying to cover, just focusing on the art. Ideally, I would like to be focusing on the art. Like, I see some streamers, they focus on the game, and that's pretty much all they talk about while they stream. But drawing is quite a slower process than that. You can hardly wait to learn digital art. What's keeping you? What is stopping you from learning digital art right now? Like, digital is merely another tool for making art. Let's be real. There are many tools in there that will help out in making art look cleaner. There's more room for mistakes, more room for many things, but digital isn't going to solve many problems. You're still in high school and broke as heck. Yeah. If you have access to a drawing tablet that you can connect to the PC, doesn't have to be a screen tablet, and you have a computer, if you have that, you have access to tools that you can do digital art with. If you don't have a computer and you don't have a tablet, then it's gonna be a bit rougher. Some people start out drawing with a mouse. I don't recommend that. So I did so too back in my days, but that was more playing around with stuff and not actually learning. I mean, it was playing around in Microsoft Paint, you know. But yeah, it's computer access that's probably the biggest roadblock on that regard. But in terms of programs and apps to use, apparently it's possible to draw even in Blender, which is also free. But yeah, I will recommend Krita. People make comics in that software. Ah, you feel like digital art is more polished than traditional art? Yeah, but what you're doing if you're trying to replicate the, say, perfectness, the level of perfect that is made with tools that help with, say, smoother lines and everything, what you're doing if you're trying to replicate that in traditional art is that you're actually building a better discipline, and that is a valuable skill, which is very cool. But it's kind of like getting used to first doing the maths on paper, learn to do some in your head, and then you move on to using the calculator, because it is a more convenient tool, but at least you understand the stuff better. So I see it. It's digital is nice, and it has nice tools, but some tools can be like pitfalls. Like whenever you get into digital, be aware that undo is a blessing and a curse. You can see I am undoing every other stroke, and I try not to undo as much. Now that I'm aware of it, I'll try to just not undo, really. But it's that's one enemy of the discipline of drawing is the undo button. Because when you're drawing traditionally, you put down a line and now it's there. You have to commit. At least when it comes to inking. That's kind of healthy, I would say. Let's hide the text. I work in digital because that is more convenient, of course. For comics, there was this guy who was interested in buying originals, like original artwork from comic work that I've done. And he said it was such a shame that people are doing more digital nowadays because people are interested in buying the originals. Yes, I understand that. That is true. I would like to do more traditional art and traditional comic work, but it just isn't convenient. And especially with scanning and all. I hate scanning. Oh. But it's good to like dabble in both worlds. One doesn't have to exclude the other. And like I said earlier in the stream, is that you can, while it might cost a bit to get started with digital, over time it is less messy and it is in a way cheaper to work with digital art because you don't have to spend both just space and money on supplies. But I like getting dirty with the art supplies as well. I sometimes dabble in traditional medias just to get a feeling of not having the control. So even if you're dabbling in traditional and want to do digital, I recommend to never fully jump on digital. Stay with traditional for the tactile experience, the feeling of holding something in your hands. I'm like, as proud as I am to be making these artworks, they don't really mean that much to me. So, because they're not physical, the printed book will mean something, but the drawings, it's as if they don't really exist, which is in one way ridiculous, because of course they do. They're here, you can see them, but they're on the screen. And anything on the screen isn't real. Which is also a super stupid statement. Don't quote me. Nobody quote me. Also, more praise for the traditional art is that the lack of control is sometimes in favor. For watercolors, for example, you can combine a lot of color and it will very often still look acceptable, it'll look decent, maybe even interesting and pretty for whatever colors you use. But in digital, like, the first thing you'll notice is that if you're using all the colors at like full-blown intensity, like you have all the colors here and you're like using a bit purple and a bit yellow and turquoise, like all the colors, it will hurt. It is going to hurt to look at. So it helps working out color theory and stuff as well. We've been on traditional drawing for 17 years. Neat. But what I'm saying is not necessarily start with traditional drawing, because, I mean, yeah, you're already into it, but never lose traditional drawing. Traditional drawing carries imperfections that has appeal. Learning to replicate that appeal in digital is also valuable, which is like we're talking about perfect stuff, and actually perfect is, it's difficult. A huge challenge with it is to keep the soul of things by allowing it to be imperfect. But that's just some quality yap. Of course, play around with everything. Never be afraid to play around. And for learning, push all the buttons. Learning art programs can be hard. And I know several artists who are just terrified of learning or terrified of change. And they're losing. They are worse off in this because if they want everything to be just so they barely understand it, they will not learn how to control the environment and how to control the program. They will not be exploring opportunities and like ways to solve things differently. And they are terrified of learning other art programs. If they first learn something, then you bet they are sticking with the one thing they bothered to learn to begin. So dabble in lots of art programs. See what they can do, see what similarities they have, and have fun about it. There is no wrong when it's about learning, other than, well, okay, the wrong is to not hit every button to see what it does, basically. But then again, I think I'm the oddball. I grew up trying to understand lots of different programs quite much at once. Started out with Photoshop, because that was the program I had access to. And once I was out of school for my animation education, then I stopped using Photoshop entirely because, well, Adobe is evil and don't deserve anyone's money. And so I'm like, okay, I'm not throwing my money at Adobe. Where do I get? What do I work with? I think I used Medibang for a year, which was free. Then later, Clip Studio Paint version 1 was on sale. Would I call AI generated art art? No. No. AI generated imagery is not art. What the AI generation stuff is, it's basically a visual parrot machine. It has been fed lots of, like, I've ranted about this before, but it's a huge ethical problem how those models for that technology has been trained, which is they have been trained on publicly available content that has not consented to being used for said training. And so what this parrot machine does is it eats up all the content it can find and replicates a mashup of that based on whatever, how it manages to interpret the information. I don't know like the super technicalities about it, but I view it as a parrot machine, both for text, both for like audio is kind of scary actually. Text, video, imagery. It's not art. And whoever is using that technology, writing prompts, and is led to believe that they have created something, they need to learn that they are not actually making anything. You'd rather do math. So-called AR, yeah. So-called with emphasis on so-called. I refuse to utter that, and I refuse to call it AI art. I will take the long way around and call it AI generated imagery because it isn't art, and that is an important difference. It is no different from stealing official game art of a character and painting over their face in MS Paint and claiming that you made something. I've told this before, but there was some kid on, I can't remember, way back in the Twitter days, who had posted, oh, I made this recolor of, I made this Ganondorf drawing, and they had taken an official Ganondorf or asset and just, with the most pixelated brush, painted white over his beard. That had me lecturing. I went out there like, listen kid, painting over something in MS Paint is not making art. You have not made this yourself. You have used something someone else made and modified it. It is not making art. And the kid got ashamed and deleted the post. Sad story, but I hope they learned. Break the pencil? What's that tag? What's hashtag break the pencil about, and how does hashtag restore the pencil work against it? I haven't seen this because I don't really browse the web that much. I've seen enough of the web. Everything I yap about is based on impressions so far, and very likely not new information, except for like, you don't need new information to tell AI enthusiasts that, look, you're not the creator from asking a bot to make a picture based on whatever it has chewed up before. Break the pencil? AI use? Oh, jeez. No. Well, then they're kind of just being bad about it. But I think it's become a form of trolling as well. That whole thing. And I don't understand all of it. There's a lot of psychology in there that I don't know about. But what's true, I think, is that most people don't really understand how machine learning and today, like dreadfully, so-called AI even works. People are not aware that it isn't okay to grab someone else's art and wrap it in something else and call it yours. People are not familiar with the concept of what art theft even is. Hey, Nathan. AI is just math. Well, as one who knows more about machine learning, where you you two have to how do I put it? Doesn't it hurt to hear people call it AI? I cling on to the statement that no, AI has not really come far. AI barely keeps ball-playing robots on their feet without toppling over. As much as I would like to view myself as someone who could get into programming, I don't think I could have like done that stuff in 8th grade. Yes, it does hurt. Yeah, should be called LLM. Large language. Yeah, I should probably be careful about like my use of lingo. It's become AI in common tongue and machine learning in some places, and LLM is like the uttered, accepted, correct one. But to cut the ramble, no, AI generated imagery is not art. There. And the fact that they get more recognition for making freaking prompts than real artists that use actual pens to draw. It's more like people are having fun with it, especially young people, like making memes and writing prompts to create imagery for a joke and stuff. To me, it seems very much like how I would back in the day be playing with video filters for my webcam. You know, those who wobble up your face and like make it look all silly, like a funny mirror. That kind of stuff. It's kind of that all over again, but with the delusion package that people are actually being artists and can amount to something in this world. The truth is, they learn less from using that technology, and they will be the worst ones off when it comes to both self-accomplishment and just mastering life, especially the self-accomplishment. I trust that in time people will realize that it has no real value to be pushing on to claim rights to things. Well, when it comes to the prompted imagery. Oh, I lost it. Whatever. AI bad. I forgot. I went too slow. Learning. Something about learning. People don't learn. You see that issue with programmers nowadays. They will be like asking the bot to create something, and then whenever the bot outputs by parroting just parrots whatever it finds, right? And whatever it's eaten, of course. But when it then outputs stuff that generates errors, then people who are like writing the prompts are like, yeah, but I don't understand the code. I can't really troubleshoot this. And they are losers. If they can't troubleshoot, then they are useless. There is a power with competence. And I kind of love that. It feels good to be good at something. And it feels good to be doing the work. I feel my life would feel pointless if creating this artwork wasn't part of my journey, basically. As much as I complain about hating to do work, it's kind of the work that makes life worth living. Something that becomes challenging but also rewarding to look back at. So I like that. It has value. Feels cool to have made something. Alright, I think I'm gonna call it there. I'm almost done with this. I basically did all the inks now. And we'll probably finish that off stream. So, in that regard, hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for checking out my stream. Thank you for being here with me, chatting, yapping, listening to me rambling about beware of parasocial relationships. That's a message to the children. Anyway, wish you all a great day, good night, or wherever you are. Have a good one. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.